What's up, family? Has Deion Sanders lost his best coordinator? Not the worst one, but has he lost his best coordinator? Let's talk about it. What's up, family? I hope that you are well. I hope that you are blessed, and I hope that you are safe. This is the Damien Jones podcast. I'm your host, Damien Jones. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. God bless you. I hope that you had a prosperous 2023, and I hope that you have written down your goals and running into 2024 with a lot of positivity, a lot of optimism, and just a lot of love. So I really appreciate all of you for subscribing, for watching, for listening, for commenting on all of our videos last year. And we're going to give you some great content. Continue to do that this year as well. Make sure you follow me right now on X. You see it right down below on the left bottom end of the screen, at Noble Negro on X. I'm a little under the weather right now, so I don't feel like being on camera. So excuse me. But I want to lay out some news that just came across the wire a few days ago, and it didn't really pick up the type of attention and the type of steam that I expected. And I took a quick break on Deion for a minute because there was so much happening with the season. We covered it pretty well. We gave him hell. I call it objectively. And many of you agree with me, and we'll continue to do that. And so I said, let me take a break so people don't say I'm just being so negative toward him. I said, okay. So I took 2 or 3 weeks of break. A lot has happened in that time frame. The transfer portal has been popping. Some big signings has happened for Colorado as well. So we'll talk about that at some point, but not in this video. But I told you, we talked about this as we covered the season. We said that there would be some coaching changes. And right after the season, we saw some coaching changes. We saw offensive coordinator Sean Lewis move on to San Diego State as the head coach, and rightfully so in the ways in which that he was treated by Deion Sanders. And then there was a much maligned, before I get there, then there was Nick Williams, the defensive line coach. He's out. Went to Syracuse. Now, he was forced out because Deion decided to hire Warren Sapp. So, okay, you forced that coach out. They try to wrap it as though it was some type of promotion and coaches being promoted. I don't know what kind of promotion you get from a 4-8 team when you've been pushed out by a Hall of Fame defensive lineman, okay? Then we saw Tim Brewster. We covered that as well. He left and went on to Charlotte as a tight ends coach. But then we talked about one of the biggest weaknesses of this Colorado team was the defense. And I'm going to be honest with you. I was very high on defensive coordinator Charles Kelly coming into the season. He's from Alabama. He came from Alabama under Saban. He coached at LSU. He coached at Tennessee. He won a championship at Florida State as defensive coordinator on the Jimbo. So I'm like, man, he's coming in. This guy is going to do a phenomenal job. Unfortunately, that was not the case. And so Charles Kelly, people, defensive coordinator for the Colorado Buffs, is out after 1 year. Reports are saying that it was a mutual decision between Deion and Kelly. I could understand that because they both were horrible at their jobs. Deion was horrible as a head coach. Charles Kelly was horrible as a defensive coordinator. I think there was enough talent on that field for them to be better. They had essentially the worst defense in the country last year. And imagine, they won 4 games. If the defense was a little bit better, people, we're talking about maybe a 6-win, 7-win team here. But they both were horrible. And I talked to my brothers, and I talked to a couple of my friends about this, and I said, Charles Kelly should be removed. Before this happened, I said Charles Kelly should be relieved, but I don't think it's going to happen yet because he's such a great recruiter. He can recruit the South very well for defensive players. And I figured they would move him away from defensive coordinator and just make him a primary recruiter. I think that's better because I think the game has the modern game has surpassed Charles Kelly in terms of schemes, in terms of communicating with young people, so forth and so on. But that didn't happen. And so I'm actually happy to see this happen. And I'm gonna give Deion a lot of credit here because when in leadership, when you see something's a problem, don't let it fester. Move on it, make a decision, move on, find the right fit. And so Kelly is moving on to a position at Auburn. And I don't know if he played at Auburn. He's from Alabama. So he has some type of connection to Auburn. I don't know what it is, but he's moving on there to be the co-defensive coordinator. Oh, that's his alma mater. He played at Auburn from 1986 to 1989. So he's going back home. This is probably a swan song for him. And I think keeping up with Deion's program was just not enough for him. And I think there was some clashes there. I think there was a lot of the bravado, the flash, all the extracurricular press conferences and things of that nature. I think a lot of old style coaches don't really like it, and the negative attention that it brings to the program. And so Kelly is out. I told y'all it would eventually happen. The question now is, and I want you to tell me down in the comments, who's the replacement? Who is the replacement? Now, and I'm going to tell you this. Watch this. Deion is going to have trouble finding good coaches going forward. But why do you say that, Damien? Well, let me just reset for a second. Damien Jones Podcast. Make sure you follow me on X. We're talking about Charles Kelly, Colorado's former defensive coordinator. He's out on his way to Auburn. Deion lost arguably his best coordinator. Okay. Excuse me. Make sure you follow me on X. Subscribe right now on YouTube. Leave a comment. Drop something in the Cash App as well. RevDamienJones. Whatever you like to do. Happy New Year to you. He's going to have problems getting coaches because after year one, so many coaches left. So what that says to these coaches, there's no stability in this program. If I up and move my family to Colorado, I want to be here at least 2 or 3 years at least. Maybe I move on to another program and I get a big raise or something like that. But these guys want stability. Their kids are in school, things of that nature. So you throw your offensive coordinator under the bus, get rid of him. Now your defensive coordinator is out after 1 year. Tight ends coach threw him under the bus. Defensive line coach, you openly say, well, Warren Sapp is going to be on my staff. He's a defensive lineman, Hall of Famer. So that means the defensive line coach is out. And then later you get rid of the defensive line coach. So I don't know what coaches are going to come in and sign up to be under this type of scrutiny, to be under this type of instability. I'm going to tell you, no quality collegiate defensive coordinator is going to come and coach under Deion. Nope. He's not even going to be able to get a good college offensive coordinator. He's going to have to get NFL retreads like Pat Shurmur, who doesn't know the college game. His defensive coordinator is likely going to be some retread NFL guy, maybe a guy that's never coached college either. But he has a lot of challenges because the ways in which he's treated his personnel. So I don't know. I think this staff next year is going to be a mess. And I'd love to see them win more games, but you got to have good coaches in the building. You got to have coaches that understand the modern game of football. Look, Nick Saban always is finding the new modern coaches, right? He got rid of Bill O'Brien and went and got Tommy Rees from Notre Dame, who understands the more modern game of college football. Pat Shurmur does not. Charles Kelly did not. And the next defensive coordinator for the Colorado Buffaloes likely will not. He'll be an NFL retread. I feel very, very confident about that. It's going to be a last-ditch effort, last resort effort, and they're going to try to package it like it's this a big splash, but you're going to be very disappointed with the overall result defensively next year as well. Tell me what you think down in the comments. Who's going to be the replacement? Should Charles Kelly have been relieved of his duties? Was it a good fit? Did he did a good job? I mean, clearly he did not. But could they have kept him for one more year for stability? Who's going to be the replacement? Tell me what you think down in the comments. This is the Damien Jones Podcast.